We are back with our Survivor 42 rankings, the last rankings of the season for us, although we'll hopefully have a finale podcast next week. But how's everyone feeling after this last episode? I sadly lost my last player. I shall not be winning the draft this season. It breaks my little heart, but how are you all feeling?
I'm feeling great. I mean, oh my god. Oh my god. I'm feeling fan fucking tastic. The end is looking very clear for your girl. Cause I'm thinking I might slide up in that mug. Cause I ain't take Jonathan out this time, which was the most opportune time to take him out. Was right now. That boy's gonna come out and he going to the top 3.
Let it be
Call it.
said that Aspen tried to put Jonathan's rating high to get him high in our rankings this week, but it didn't work that well. But you tried, Aspen. You tried.
I had to give it a shot, bro.
A for effort. A for effort. And I don't have Jonathan dead last, actually, but I do have him at the bottom of my pack. But this episode, man, okay, so this was bittersweet for me. Omar wasn't on my team, but I really thought he deserved to win more than anyone else from the game he played.
To be fair, Omar deserved to win. I want to go on record saying he deserved this season, bro. He did.
He ran shit for so long that no one with what's left of the game, no one can do, in my opinion, enough to equal out what he's done throughout the season.
No.
So I think it was tragic to lose him here, just because I do think he was the best winner left. And so for me, it always sucks to see the person that I thought deserved to win, go, even if they weren't on my team. I was kind of pulling for you in that regard, Nick, because I do think he played the best, man, and it sucked to see him go.
Yeah, I do think he played the best. I will say this, though. I feel like, because, a lot of these podcasts and game bots in general will say you can't overplay, you can't play too hard. But I think Omer and Hai were two very good examples of what overplaying means. Because, like, when you're running the game or when you're, like, on top of the game, you don't have to constantly try to play like Puppet Master, because I don't actually know if I agree if that's completely like the best gameplay. And Mike is joining us here in a second. We're talking about Omer, Mike, and his game and it ending here. I was just talking about how I do think players can overplay. I was texting Alex last night actually about this. About how
Wait, is Alex watching the season?
Yes, Alex is watching this season.
Oh, okay. What's up, Alex? I hope you're watching this podcast. We miss you,
I don't know if he's watching the podcast, but he is watching the season. But yeah, I just think Omer and Hai were good examples of what overplaying means. When you're on top, you don't have to try and control every little thing. Take a week off sometimes. At least let things set. I feel like you play that hard when you're on the bottom, or if it's like an exact split house or something. But when you're on top, you don't have to constantly try and make every little move, because you're going to eventually make a move that is negative for you, especially if you're getting rid of all of your shields and then you become this big player. So yes, I'm sad to lose my best player because I'm not winning this draft, but he overplayed, unfortunately, last week.
I don't know if y'all talked about this last week, because I haven't been able to watch anything for the past couple of weeks, but I think a more savvy play would have been to take Mike's idol and vote him out. I don't know if y'all talked about that. That if you want to play like a G, that's the G play there, is like, let me collect this idol. That way I don't have to give it back. And now it's mine. And look how that worked out for him.
Going back to the negative editing this season, apparently I've read, because Omar gave an interview, Omar had or found an idol nullifier. So he was able to give back Mike's idol, and he could have eventually nullified Mike's idol if he would have thought that would have been a way to get Mike out. So Omar was still being a G. We didn't get to see it because all their twists flopped this season, apparently.
That's pretty relevant.
Right. I mean, that's a big deal. It's interesting that they didn't show somebody finding an advantage, because that's something they always try to. Yeah, so that was weird. Huh.
God knows they spent 2 hours on this amulet shit that amounted to nothing.
All right. Mike, how are you feeling about this last episode?
Fine. My team looks about the same as his look for a while now.
My team's joining yours, if that makes you feel better.
It's really hard when you're on top to not control. Like if you run the game from an early part, it's really hard to take your foot off the gas, because as soon as you do, you're going to end up targeted.
Wait,
true.
Vanguard, do you have Lindsay and Romeo?
Yeah.
That's why Fanguy at least had the best draft of us. Is he going to win? I don't know.
I don't think I'm going to have a finalist. I legit think my two are the next two gone, but we'll see.
Nah, Romeo is the classic 0 vote getter at Final Tribal.
He's had like no edit. Like he had no
Yeah.
edit this week at all. I don't
Yeah,
know. about
he's
last
well. Maybe he's the Heather. Maybe he loses fire making.
Maybe. Any final thoughts before we get to the rankings?
Let's get into this shit.
Well, coming in at number 5 is Romeo, because you weren't here, Mike, but Aspen tried to make Jonathan's ranking very high this week, so that is why Jonathan is not in first place.
I almost switched Romeo and Jonathan's spots in my ranking, which has Jonathan in last, Romeo in second to last. But I don't think either of these two are winning the game, so it's all about the same, honestly. At least Romeo finally voted correctly, and then our reward is now you're in last place.
Right.
God.
There's not a whole lot to say about him, though, because he has voted so incorrectly. He's been doing his own thing, which I respect on one hand, but it's not really working for him.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't sure he was going to go with Marianne's plan this week. I don't really. He was kind of the wild card of the week. He was a swing vote this week, in my opinion. That could have sent it either way. But he just doesn't seem to have any close allies. So I mean, I have him 5th. He's just kind of there at this point. He's just kind of there.
Bro, here you go. Call it like it is.
He really is just a number.
But for
Sometimes.
everybody, he's like everybody's number. Because like,
or nobody's.
yeah.
Any other thoughts on Romeo? Well, number 4 is Jonathan. Sorry, Aspen. He's not number 2.
Wow.
Y'all care to explain?
I want to know why you think he deserves to be higher again. I think you're just being a homer for your last hope that you'll win the draft, and Boo Boo or nobody will.
Bro, how Jonathan evaded that shit this week? Y'all not gonna give him props for that, really?
I mean, yeah, but like we've been talking about for a few podcasts now, I feel like his social game is so kind of dead in the water that I don't think people actually see him as a threat to win this game.
Like Lindsay never once gave him a single piece of prop other than he's good at challenges. Like she never said, I'm afraid he's gonna win. She never said, I think he's smarter than he lets on. For what it's worth, I think he's probably smarter than he's shown on the island, but not by a lot. As far as like gameplay goes. But I put him in 5th again because he's still not winning this season. I'm sorry, Aspen. His win would be more shocking than Chris from the Edge of Extinction winning, and he wasn't even in the show until the finale episode. So I'm sorry, but Jonathan's not winning this season.
Yeah, I agree.
Feel similar.
I do too. I almost couldn't even put it any better. I just don't think he has a shot to win. It is impressive if he gets the finale. Okay, let's not take that away from him. The fact that he was probably the biggest target, at least in the open, for the majority of the game, you can't really. If you're the biggest target in the game for the majority of the game and you make it to the finale, that should count for something, maybe more than I think it's going to count for with this particular jury. But this jury I don't see them liking him enough to give him the win over the other possibilities that are there. He could maybe only beat Romeo in terms of the social game. And I don't think he could beat any of the other 3.
Yeah, I also don't know if he was really the biggest target. Like on paper, he should have been, and to us, he should have been. But I guess maybe if you're really on the island with him, you kind of see that he's not. And I also think this season is showing that challenges don't mean a whole lot of shit in Survivor right now. So sorry, Aspen.
Maybe they should do some new challenges that aren't the
Maybe.
same 8 challenges of run a short obstacle course and do a puzzle or balance on a beam of some kind, holding something of some kind. Like, congrats, those are the 2 types of puzzles that we have now.
You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
Jonathan's not a comp beast if you ask him to count to 200. Like it's not.
Yep.
Yeah. Just wait.
Just wait for what? Can you submit you're being a homer?
He can beat Romeo, and
But it's a 3-person finale. It's not a 2-person, unfortunately, for Jonathan.
he might have a chance at beating Lindsay if he can. Bruh, all he got to do. All right, look, I'm gonna break it down for y'all real quick. All he got to do is take fucking Lindsay's ass out, and then turn around and all while comping out, because obviously he can, especially when he take Lindsay out. Which, congrats to Lindsay, because honestly, that bitch is a beast, yo. Like, she killing his ass. But all he gotta do is comp out, take fucking Lindsay out, and then take Marianne out, and then I feel like that's enough to be over Mike. Because what has Mike done beside? I mean, no. What move is Mike claiming at the
I mean,
end?
if it was that final 3, I do think it would be very hard for the jury because I do think the jury would be very split. So
That would
maybe
be his best
Jonathan would
chance.
have a shot. It would be his best chance, yeah.
I concur.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if Jonathan whittles it down to Romeo, one other person, and the other person quits the game for personal reasons or overindulges at the final feast, yeah, Jonathan could win, I guess. But I'm gonna wager that that's not gonna happen. I mean, this isn't gonna be like Panama where RS trips on those rocks and ends up cutting himself. You remember that? And then like that's the reason we have a final 3, by the way, is they had a final 2, and the final 2 people, one of them almost died like right in front of the cameras, and they're like, shit, maybe we should have 3 people just in case something happens to one of them. So now we have 3 people. So
Interesting. I did not know that.
I'm on your side with this, Mike, though. I don't think Jonathan really has a shot. We will move on to number 3, which is Mike.
wow, bold. I think Lindsay should be here over Mike by
I went back
a
and
lot.
forth.
I wanted to tank Lindsay for not playing the idol.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, you're not half as clever as you think you are. It has always bothered me when people don't utilize an idol. Like, look at me, I'm so good. I didn't need to use an idol the last night I played it. No, I don't care. I'm either covering my ass just in case, or I'm playing it if I'm already safe, or I'm playing it on someone I trust. And I think it was a major mistake not to just cover someone. Like, if she had played it on Marianne, she thinks Marianne is her number 1 ally out there, and Omar goes home and she realizes that Marianne had pulled the wool over her eyes. That's also a dumb move from Lindsay, but I think it's much less dumb than just letting an idol expire. At least try and win some goodwill somewhere. Like, yeah, you're mildly pissing off a few people, but if you're at the point where everyone knows you have it, which if you tell one person, everyone knows you have it. So once you do that, you may as well just play it. And she's got to know everyone knows about the medallions because that was like an open secret because there were 3 of them and like they all knew it. So just play your stupid final 6 idol. Save someone. I'm not saying she would have known to idol Omar, but at least play it on someone to increase your chances of Jonathan going.
Yeah, I don't think Lindsay secured any jury votes this week if she does make the end. But
I still think there's an argument to be made against that, where it's really dangerous to save the most obvious winner left in the game at this point. Like, I think somewhere in the back of her head, she had to be okay with knowing if that went down, it was okay because she can't beat him in the end anyway. So
that's fair.
why I could see saving him a little bit sooner in the game as a number, but at this point, even if it's you two against the other three, you're still outnumbered. So what's the point in saving the guy who literally is gonna win?
If you are the second or third biggest threat in the game, I'm not okay. So if you're the second biggest threat, Final Six is definitely the wrong time to take someone out. If you're the third biggest, it's arguable. So maybe she thinks she's behind Mike in threats of winning the game, but it's just Final Six. I know it doesn't sound very early, but Final Six is way too early to be taking out the quote unquote biggest threat to win. Like, I'm sorry, but if you think you're in spot number 2 and you're like a really close ally of yours, you keep that shield one round longer, especially when you're much better at challenges than they are. So yeah, he just won a reward challenge, but I don't know. It's just like you see the shield strategy working to. I'm gonna, over the course of this episode, name every past Survivor winner ever. So spoiler alerts, but you see the shield strategy working its magic in Millennials versus Gen X, the winner of that season, and Cambodia, the winner of that season. Those are people who kept the shields around into the end game, and look how it paid off for them. Like that's good.
What was the first season?
Millennials versus Gen X.
Who won that?
But I think there's an argument to be made that it maybe helps men get further in the game.
I mean, I suppose. I don't know. Maybe that's true, but
yeah. Well, I take Lindsay as because I put Lindsay literally last. I just feel like she was garbage and she played incorrectly, and I think she next to go. So yeah, we deserve it. And honestly, like, let's be real. What has Lindsay done? She don't deserve to win besides winning challenges. And we all made the conclusion that winning challenges don't mean a fucking thing.
I agree with you, but I agree. I don't think Lindsay's gonna win.
She's just more likable than Jonathan to the jury, from what I've seen. Therefore, if it somehow came down to those two and like Romeo, who has done nothing, even less, arguably, I think Lindsay gets the nod over in a Lindsay, Jonathan, Romeo trio.
We kind of skipped over Mike, though. Do we have any comments on Mike?
We totally did skip over Mike.
What does Mike do?
I mean, he pretending like he trying to play, like running around being like, Marianne, this is what we gonna do. I feel like he was not really, I don't know. I feel like he was.
He's messy.
Did he vote with Marianne or no? How did Mike vote? I didn't see that.
He and Jonathan voted for Romeo, where Marianne +1 vote and Romeo voted for Omar, and Omar and Lindsay voted for Jonathan.
Okay. All right, cool.
A 3-2-2 split with Marianne's extra vote, giving her and Romeo the win.
Okay, let's go, Mike, with the fucking facts. I love that.
It was a smart split because had Lindsay played the idol, they wanted to make sure it was Romeo that went. So I mean, they did the right thing.
I do feel like from Mike. So just looping back to Mike, I feel like his fatal flaw in the game is exactly what Marianne said, is that Mike and Jonathan are underestimating Marianne. They are not giving her the respect that her game has earned. And the jury sees it. Omar saw it in his very last moments in the game. And he even said, I knew I should have I knew I shouldn't have trusted her. She's too dangerous. It's like playing with fire. Like, if you're voting out strong, good players, but they don't see it coming until they're gone, that's a really good spot to be in. And that's not the position Mike's in, because Mike's whole thing is telling everyone, my word is my bond, but then he votes them out like either that episode or the next episode.
That's his second fatal flaw, is he's made personal relationships and then he votes them out, and it doesn't really go well. Sure.
I want to give more props to Omer too, with the way he took it. The way he took it on the chin like a champ when he got voted out.
Yeah, I think High Andrea set a good precedent these last 3 episodes.
Yeah. See, I didn't see those 2 exits, but if they gracefully exited like that while giving props, that is a graceful exit that is very hard to do in a high-stakes game like that.
So, I don't know if Drea gave props or she's fucking...
Well, Drea did both. She gave props, but also put a big target on Mike.
She sunk Omar, bruh. She sunk Omar.
Jonathan's gonna get voted out, stand up, go, take his torch and just like javelin throw it to the jungle. Like, he's gonna lose it.
Break it in half.
If he doesn't make the match at this point.
Stop.
And then we're gonna get a post vote out confessional where Jonathan's gonna say, I really had to hide my emotions after being voted out. I didn't want them to think less of me on Ponderosa. Sorry. I don't know why, because I actually like Jonathan a lot as like a player, even though of all of his flaws, I think he's interesting, but it's fun and interesting to clown on him, so I'm sorry.
I'm not a big fan, so I like this clowning on him.
Sorry for breaking your tiki torch, Mr. Jeff.
And Aspen, I had Jonathan's back when I thought he was playing a good game until he had his meltdown, and at that point, I saw his game die. So I think I'm giving it fair. I think where it is deserved and where it isn't deserved to people. I'm trying.
That's fair.
Any last comments on Mike or Lindsay? Well, our number 1 is Boo Boo's Marianne.
I see you, Boo Boo. I see you, Boo Boo.
Boo Boo is seriously about to win this draft.
Oh, yeah.
Right before we came on the air, Nick and I were, I think, in agreement that like I just don't see anyone else winning. And it goes back to exactly what you just said about Mike's fatal flaw, Mike. And it's a lot of people's fatal flaw with Marianne. Now, granted, I'm not saying Marianne was the biggest threat all season. She was not. But to be that underestimated is a huge boon if people underestimate you that much. Because I have a feeling they are going to just carry her to the final 3 thinking that they can beat her because we big, strong men, you little girl. And it ain't going to work out for them because she's just more liked by this jury. And she's done more, arguably, than anyone else left in the game. So I think 100% her getting here, it's not my favorite, most stylish way to see someone get to the end where they are just perpetually underestimated. I think that is a great strategy, though, if you can pull it off. But it's definitely not the flashiest way to see someone get to the end. But, hey, she's there.
I mean, we have seen the hints and seeds to this dropped throughout the whole season pretty much. Like Marianne has probably been underestimated by everyone out there and probably the vast majority of people watching.
In our draft, she was definitely
underestimated. She was clearly
I did too.
The draft is completely excusable because let's be honest, you can't judge shit on these people based on the draft, and but it is pretty crazy that the last 2 people left are probably the 2 biggest threats to win. I understand we ranked Lindsay higher, but I'm going to say the 2 biggest threats to win are still Marianne, huge gap, Mike, huge gap, Lindsay, giant crevice, canyon gap, everyone else. So I feel like looking back on this season, it is going to be like Marianne is going to be like an awesome winner, and she played a great game, and it was a fun game to watch. But the season as a whole was average, I would say, is mediocre, mid bottom tier season with a great winner. And I feel like we've seen a few of those.
Yeah, it's because of production's fault.
It is. I think it is absolutely production's fault.
Although I would say if I were to rank like the past 10 seasons, this would probably be near my top of it because I have a lot of the last 10 seasons are my bottom seasons of the shows. I guess when you've watched this show for 22 years, that's going to happen though.
Yeah.
I think it's had a winner's edit too. Like if you think back, she was one of the only girls that even got an edit in the first half of the season. And they've all been somewhat positive outside of that one little getting in Jonathan's path, walking or something. You know, she's had a good edit. She's been edited like a good winner. And I think that's why it's a foregone conclusion she's winning, simply because her edit compared to the other edits, I can only see it being her, Jonathan, and Mike at the end based on how much screen time they've got.
I still think Romeo is a 0 vote finalist in some sense. I feel like not Marianne, because I'm convinced Marianne is winning this season, but I feel like one of Jonathan or Mike probably lose fire. I feel like it goes Lindsay, and then one of Jonathan or Mike lose fire, and then we see Romeo face off against the other one, and Marianne.
Okay, I can see that.
Because I feel like that would mean Marianne or Romeo would have to win the final challenge, which I think is probably possible, especially if it's like that big running challenge they showed there with the puzzle at the end. Because puzzle at the end, oh, sorry, Jonathan's not winning it. So one more jab in, but Marianne's played a really great game, and I really hope she wins. And I told Boo Boo to clear her schedule for the evening of the 26th to get on here and gloat for a little while. So hopefully we'll get to see that.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Boo Boo got us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boo Boo got us. What can we say?
I definitely want to give Marianne her props. She pulled off a great move. I respect what she did. She executed it. She didn't let nobody talk her out of it. She was, she stood strong in her wanting to do this, and she played her game. And it was nice to see her do that. And yeah, shout out to Marianne making us Black women out here look good on Survivor and shit. Like, hey, she really do deserve it. And if they fucking rape Marianne of this win, I am not watching fucking Survivor no more. Like, Jonathan is probably gonna win, but like,
Just saying, if Jonathan wins, you're not gonna watch Survivor anymore.
I mean, it would be a good episode to go out on, a good season. I won the draft with Jonathan after y'all was talking shit about him this whole season. So
not the whole season.
Okay, Mike, you didn't talk shit about him one episode. Thank you.
Oh, come on.
He was climbing the ranks till that fall from grace. He actually was. He was climbing steadily. I remember I had ranked him as high as third.
Even I was starting to rank him higher. But yeah, Marianne.
Him and Marianne about to pull something off. I feel like him and Marianne might could pull something off in this next episode.
I just want to say this move for Marianne was savage, and I enjoyed that it was savage because Omar was helping Marianne for the past several weeks. And since this jury respects these last three jurors, we've seen them respecting the game and these moves. I think it was just a savage, great move for Marianne to cut Omar in this way.
And it was the perfect show. That she does not need no man dictating and protecting and looking out for her. So beautiful. Love seeing that.
Period.
I'll say this about the season as a whole, and it's the theory posited by my boyfriend. He said that the lack of a swap is a lot of what he thinks is making the season feel so like disjointed and edited, perhaps weird and poorly, because there just aren't storylines to show for a lot of it without a swap. Like, how much can you really show storyline wise of a tribe if they don't ever split up from the same 4 people or 5 people interacting in the same 5 permutations every 24 hours? Like, if 2 people aren't talking to each other in the tribe, or if they don't like each other, like, how much of Tori and Roxbury not getting along can they possibly show? Like, but when you get a swap, you have all these new interesting people that will interact in new interesting ways. And I've in the past, I think, probably said maybe too many swaps, but I think there's also an issue with Modern Survivor, aka these past 2 seasons, and having no swaps, is that it doesn't give a cohesiveness to the season.
Yep, I agree. I think he's 100% right, because I would say that a tribe swap is the best twist Survivor ever put in. Some would probably say the immunity idol, but I think as the tribe swap adds a whole lot more dynamics to the game and story wise too.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, because the immunity idol just boils down to, we're going to vote out this person. But what if they have an idol? Like, and then they just have to decide who else to vote out or what to split. Like, that's like the one thing with an idol. There's not too much more to it, but a tribe swap offers up so much, because then you have, like, let's say it's a tribe of 8 and it's a 4 and 4 original tribes. Like, suddenly you've got so much craziness. Like, rock draws are on the tables. Like, who might flip? What if one person from each tribe flips on the original tribe lines? Like, then you have a new rock scenario. Like, it's beautiful. Tribe swap's awesome, but I do.
Well, I've heard the next season also has 3 tribes, so I hope that doesn't mean they're keeping this format the same.
3 tribes and stupid idol phases and no swap and
that would be miserable.
No more
Shipwheel
frickin'
Island,
hourglass.
guys. Shipwheel Island, and we loved seeing the amulets, right, guys? We loved seeing how that kept getting talked about, and it never mattered. They never got played. They never got used. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the same twist every season with 3 tribes. I love the 3 small tribes. Don't you guys? It's a new era.
I'd like
Survivor,
3
guys.
tribes if they have tribe swaps and change it up at some point.
Drop the
Right.
subtitles, guys. It's just Survivor 58. There's no theme. It's just Survivor 58. Come on, guys. It's a new era.
It's a new era.
Any final thoughts on Marianne?
Good shit, Marianne.
She's
Good
gonna
shit.
win. She's gonna win. Book it.
God, she'd better. I mean, can you imagine if she doesn't? I'm gonna be livid too.
It would
It
be
would not make sense. Nothing else would make sense but a Marianne win.
because we've seen these other players why they lose the game too, in my opinion.
Right. So, like, if Marianne goes, because I truly cannot see her losing a final tribal council. Let's say she goes home, tragically loses fire making. Like, if Mike wins, why are we being shown Mike loses because he promises people things, betrays them, and then he's also Omar's puppet? Why are we seeing that? If Lindsay wins, why the hell are we seeing her just fail in strategic decisions? And, like, why are we not
no
seeing
edit
her?
whatsoever. Yeah.
Right. If Romeo wins, I'm sorry, you just got too far in your own head of trying to surprise the viewers. And if Jonathan wins, there's going to be a lot of very happy casuals, including in my own family, but a lot of very angry people otherwise, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts overall?
That about does it.
All right. Well, if Marianne wins, hopefully we'll have a special guest, Boo Boo, who won in the comments of our draft. If not, well, then I guess we'll be complaining about a winner next week.
Let's go.
Well, except Aspen if it's Jonathan, apparently.
It's not going to be Jonathan. If it's anyone, it might be Mike, but that's like 1% possibility as opposed to the like.
All right. Well, until the finale of Survivor 40.